Hey, I'm alive. Welcome to the Blathering Boomers special election night edition. I'm gonna try to keep this thing updated as best I can, and let me see my matching the stuff that I'm seeing on TV at 178, 113. Yep, that's what they have it on TV. Virginia is very, very much in play. In fact, I'm gonna change Virginia to a there. Let's make Virginia a lighter shade of blue, because at the moment Trump actually has a bit of a lead in Virginia. The betting market is going crazy. Trump is now a 2-to-1 favorite. I can't say what it's based on. Early Pennsylvania voting has Harris way in front, but that's a lot of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, which is where she was expected to perform. Um, anyway, back to it. Just just to talk about how I got here. In I remember in 2016 when Trump first ran, I was horrified. Trump, but I grew up in a Trump building in Brooklyn, and I never had a very high opinion. I had a very low opinion actually of the whole Trump family. No renter really likes their landlord, and I particularly didn't like Donald Trump. So when he ran in 2016, and there was this whole thing about voting for the lesser of two evils. My thing at the time, and again, anybody already heard this? Well, I'm sorry and glad you've already heard it. If you've already heard it, that means you watched my podcast last week. But I have to kind of say it again. In 2016, my feeling was the lesser of two evils is still evil. And I couldn't bring myself to vote for Donald Trump. There was no way. I mean, I even remember during the Republican primary, I was saying that when it was the last three guys standing, it was Kasich, Cruz, Rubio had already dropped out, and it was down to Kasich, who wasn't getting very much, Cruz, who had a legitimate shot, and Trump. I was saying that Kasich and Cruz should conspire, and each of them should drop out in strategic states and give their support to the other, so Trump didn't get a majority of delegates. That's how anti-Trump I was in 2016. 2020, it shifted. I got so intensely voter shamed. In here, I'm gonna bring myself full screen. I want to see my pretty face. There we go. Hey, how we doing, guys? Um, 2016. I mean 2020. After I was so shamed for voting for Jill Stein in 2016. Everybody said you got to vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm like, no, I don't have to vote for the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is still evil. And again, this is just how things have evolved with me. I consider Trump to be an evil. Stephanie and I went to Europe later that year for my son's wedding. Actually, in 2017 we went, but it was not too long after the election. And I remember apologizing to a cab driver in London. I'm like, listen, just because Trump got elected doesn't reflect on the American people. I also remember on the night of his inauguration, Stephanie and I went and saw the Jefferson Starship in Pasadena, or what's left of the Jefferson Starship. Um, it's basically David Freiberg and a Jefferson Airplane cover band. Not the point. The point is there was an opening act, and there was a badass female drummer drumming for the opening act, and she was really, really good. It was a decent opening act. Anyway, at a certain point, and again, mind you, this is the night of Trump's inauguration. She stood up from her drum stool, turned around, and on the back of her shirt, in big letters, were the words, "Fuck Trump." And I remember thinking, yeah, well, okay, fine, fuck Trump, but aren't we lucky we live in a country where you could have the words "fuck Trump" in large letters on the back of a T-shirt and not get arrested for it? It matters. Things like that matter. And honestly, I wonder how it would have gone this year if. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go there. But you know what I was about to say. So, so in 2020, after being shamed for not voting for the lesser of two evils, I voted for the lesser of two evils because I was fed up with the Democratic Party. I really thought part of my, excuse me, the silver lining to me of Trump winning in 2016 was that for an unthinkable candidate at the time, like Donald Trump, to beat Hillary Clinton, a former Secretary of State, a former carpetbagging senator, by the way, Hillary, spending a weekend at the Waldorf does not make you a New Yorker. You're from Arkansas or wherever. You're not a New Yorker. I resented her ever being a senator from New York, even though I don't live there anymore. Not the point. Once again, the blathering boomer strays from the point. The point is that what is the point? This is why I'm glad I could edit, because I'm going to edit out a lot of my I paint myself into a corner. I forget what I was going to say. This is what happens. This is very exciting tonight. It's all pretty crazy. Virginia's totally in play, by the way. I'm not sure if you've been checking the results. Trump has a narrow lead in Virginia, and neither he nor Harris have more than 50% of the vote. And what that means is that it's very possible Jill Stein and Cornel West and the other two who are running could end up, the votes they get could be more than the margin that Trump is likely to win by. Whoa, Wisconsin just came up with a it's less than 1% of the vote, but Trump got off to a good running start in Wisconsin. By the way, I'm sitting here on the couch because I'm looking at the TV set over there. You can't see it. Instead of at the table where I normally do the Blathercast. 16 people watching. Very, very grateful for that. My record's 18. Let's see if we can beat that tonight. Again, I'm going to present the board as it is right now, and let me make that bigger for you guys. There it is. At this moment, of the states that have been called, Trump has 178 electoral votes. Harris has 113. Don't be deceived by that margin. A lot of states that are deep blue have yet to. You can see on the map here, the bright red and the bright blue are the ones that have already been called for the different candidates. The darker blue and the darker red, not the bright blue or bright red, those are the states that are pretty well in hand for Harris or Trump. But the light states, those are the swing states. And as you can see, the normal swing states, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan, they're all pretty light. But added to the light blue now was a formerly dark blue Virginia. Well, if Trump takes Virginia, it's game over. And if Trump takes Virginia by a slim margin, and I could hardly wait for them to start blaming Jill Stein like I did in 2016. And I remember what I was going to say before. The silver lining to Trump winning in 2016 was for the Democrats to lose to an unthinkable candidate like Donald Trump meant that after the shenanigans they pulled in the infamous 2016 primary, I thought that the result of a potential Trump win would be that the Democrats just had to tear it down and start over. They made such stupid strategic moves. Debbie Wasserman Schultz should have been thrown under the bus, properly thrown under the bus, and many levels of it. All Hillary had to do was say, "Oh my God, I can't believe Debbie did that." Well, that's not how we roll. But no, what did Hillary do? She made Debbie Wasserman Schultz her honorary campaign manager. And that was my, I don't want to say red pill moment, but that was certainly my Dem exit moment. So I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. And again, thought that maybe the Democrats would learn their lesson. And here we get to 2018, early 2019, and Tulsi Gabbard announced it. By the way, I'm wearing my Tulsi shirt. Yeah. Tulsi Gabbard announces her candidacy for president before Bernie Sanders and his phony campaign ever announced. And I thought, well, maybe, it's a long shot, but hey, Trump was at 2% at the beginning. Tulsi's at 1 or 2%. You never know. The more people hear what she has to say, the more they like her. But the Democrats pulled a different kind of shenanigans. After Tulsi lit up Kamala Harris in one of the debates, They weren't having it anymore. So they kept on changing the debate rules to keep Tulsi out of the debates, and it was awful. It was horrible, frustrating. The other side of the coin, though, it was also quite wonderful. Tulsi rallies were high energy love fests. I started going to several of them, so I got some friends I met on the road, and I saw her in several different cities, and I went all the way to New Hampshire with a crew of I guess you can call them journalists, whatever you want to call them, for the primary. We were actually in Hart's Location, New Hampshire, a town of like 23 people, where they have the midnight voting in the primary. So anyway, that was 2016, and the Democrats clearly did not learn their lesson because they installed Biden, who was not a serious candidate at the outset. He might have thought he was serious, but nobody else did. He was a distant fourth. He was behind people like Buttigieg, and he's even behind Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders. I think Elizabeth Warren was ahead of him. And of course, Barack Obama, the puppet master, pulls the strings. Everybody drops out at once, and we end up with Biden. And I would not vote for Biden. I would not vote for Biden. I did not vote for Biden. I wasn't going to vote for Biden, but I was still no fan of Donald Trump. And at that point, I jokingly said, well, you people, sorry about the you people, you folks shamed me because you wanted me to vote for the lesser of two evils last time around. So this year I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. His name is Donald Trump. It wasn't really a vote for Trump. It was a vote against Harris. Now we get to 2024, and I want to talk about good guys and bad guys. And I can't help using WWF. It's WWF, by the way. Screw that WWE. WWF. Actually, back in the 60s, it was WWWF. So I'm probably 12 or 13 years old, and I'm watching wrestling on Channel 9 in New York. And there was this, there's tag teams. For those who don't know, it's two guys are a team, and one guy's in the ring at a time, supposedly, and they tag each other. Not important. Anyway, the Graham brothers, Dr. Jerry Graham and Crazy Luke Graham, they were bad guys, notorious bad guys. And one night, they fought against Gene Kaninsky and Waldo Von Erich, who were also bad guys. But during the course of the match, Von Erich and Kaninsky's manager, Wild Red Berry, started hitting the Graham brothers with his cane when they got backed into the corner. They were totally cheating. And right before my eyes, the Graham brothers, who'd been bad guys for years, became good guys in an instant. That's the 2024 election. I don't view Trump as a bad guy anymore, especially with the support he's getting. People like Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, Vivek, RFK fucking Jr. I mean, what a crew. Look at the people he's surrounding himself with. So my evolution has become the Democratic nominating process. Well, it wasn't a process. Kamala Harris got installed as the nominee. And the fact is, Biden dropped out a month before the convention. There was plenty of time for a primary. They didn't want a primary. They did not want a primary. They installed Harris. Total coup. And the rhetoric has been so awful. Madison Square Garden once held a Nazi rally, and therefore, if you went to Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden, that made you a Nazi. Were garbage. I mean, yeah, this is the stuff from late in the campaign. They killed Peanut the squirrel. I'm not sure if that was a partisan thing, but it was very, very sad. I shed a couple of. Well, man, when I saw that guy talking about how much he loved Peanut for 7 years, it brings a tear to my eye now. I'm not being crocodile. It's really, really sad. And if that turns out to be a partisan thing, I'll really be pissed off. I really don't know enough about it right now, other than it's huge news. I'm blathering about Peanut. The fact of the matter is, I voted for Donald Trump this year, and I was not voting for the lesser of two evils. I was not voting against Harris. Well, yeah, I was voting against Harris, but I was voting for Trump. I said many, many months ago, I'll find the tweet sometime in the course of the night, many, many months ago when RFK was still a candidate, that Kennedy should consider dropping out. Trump, being a master deal maker, needs to make a deal with Kennedy and offer him whatever he has to offer him. And Kennedy would have the choice. He peaked at like 20%, which was wonderful, but he was down by 5 or 6%. He didn't have a legitimate path to victory. So his choice, as I said back then, was you have political capital. The political capital becomes worthless on November 6th, but it becomes meaningful if you join the Trump campaign and urge your supporters to do the same. So it did happen about a month later. I'm not claiming to be Nostradamus or anything. It seemed obvious to me that's what had to happen. But this coalition and the acceptance, I mean, my entire life, the Democrat Party were the open arms party, the Big Ten party, the party of tolerance. My hippie community up in Berkeley was all about tolerance, respecting people's opinions. None of them speak to me anymore. Without exception, I haven't heard from anybody in the longest time. Well, there was a funeral. I saw a couple of them there, but that's not the point. The Democrats have become joyless. They said this was the joy campaign. It was the joyless campaign. It was anger. It was hatred. And Trump's up there. He's hysterical. The guy, if nothing, yeah, okay, we don't elect a guy because he's funny, but we elect him because he's the best choice. And Trump happens to also be funny. Anyway, I've blathered enough for the moment. I'm going to put the electoral map back up there. I'm not going to stop the live stream. I'm going to come back if I have anything to say of significance, which is very unlikely. I never have anything. Look at this. I got BB, Blathering Boomer. If I added one more B, I'd be Ashley. It's a bit of an inside joke among Tulsi supporters. Anyway, so let me put the map up full screen. I'm sure you could still hear my voice. And I'm going to mute my microphone and just catch up on what's happening right now. It's a little bit hard to keep up with. It looks like it looks like Trump got 17 more electoral votes. I'm not sure where they come from. So, that's probably Ohio. I'm guessing Trump took Ohio. And yes, Trump took Ohio. So let me update that. And a big shout out to my dear friends in Ohio, who half of whom are probably happy about that, and the other half probably not. But that's the thing about my Ohio community, though. They're tolerant. I was talking to this one guy, a great musician and a good friend, and I was lamenting how many people have canceled me. And he's like, his take was, that's really stupid. He said, it's really stupid. Why do you cancel somebody over politics? I don't know. I don't do it. You want to vote? I said there's a video I played a couple of weeks ago that was me talking 2 days after the 2020 election. I was saying words to the effect of, look, you don't want to support who I support? Fine. You want to support somebody I don't support? Fine. What's not fine is you try to shame me. The day you catch me shaming anybody is the day that I will just hang up this podcast. People should vote their conscience, vote whoever they want, and leave people alone who don't agree with them. And by leaving alone, I don't mean canceling them. I mean just let people vote how they're going to vote. Anyway, I've been talking way too long. If anybody wants to join this live stream, I'm going to have this going for at least a few hours. Hit me up on Twitter and a DM, UNG714. That's Ugly Nasty Guy 714, and you can see it right there on the screen. And I'll send you a link, and you can come on with me. Why not? I'm not a major podcast, and even if I was, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from people who follow me on Twitter. I definitely want to hear from the brave souls who've been watching this. I get a couple of dozen views, and that's fine. That's fine. hey, the fact that anybody wants to hear me go prattling on and on about this and that is very, very humbling. So I've been going on about 20 minutes right now. I'm gonna go back to the map, and the boomer, for the moment, has blathered. And okay, I'm back with a bit of an update. One of the things that's been happening, I do follow this one site, predicted.com, and let me see if I can get that on the screen. That's the wrong button. See, I can edit out all my uncertainty. But let me stop that screen and start this screen. And let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Here we go. Like Dak Prescott. Here we go. Okay, you seeing this? Yeah, you're seeing this. Okay, let me make it full screen. So the way this works, you pay. Let's forget cents, but make it dollars. You would pay $73 for a share of Donald Trump, and if he wins, you get back $1. Now I'm not actually playing there, but I've been following this. When Kamala Harris was first nominated, she was like at 58 cents to Trump's like 43. And he slowly crept up and he slowly took a lead. Right now, right now he's got a lead of, wow, he's got a lead of 43 cents. A few weeks ago, Trump had crept up to like a 12-cent lead. And then all of a sudden, in the last like 4 days, Harris gained huge momentum, and she caught up, and then she took like a 6-cent lead. Well, this morning it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was 54 to 52, something like that, in favor of Trump. But look at it right now. Donald Trump is 72 to 28. Oh, she just became 29. But he's basically a 3-1 favorite right now to win this election. Now, that being said, we all remember 2020, and he was a huge favorite when we went to bed that night. And then all of a sudden, we woke up in the morning and Michigan and Wisconsin had gone from red to blue, and we all wondered why. And some of us still kind of wonder why, but I'm not allowed to talk about that because I get labeled some kind of QAnon maniac if I even question the election. But that was then. This is now. Whatever, well, we survived the last 4 years, but we're certainly not in the kind of shape that we were 4 years ago. That's in my opinion. I think open borders have done perhaps irreparable damage to this country. I'm not in favor of deporting every single person who came here illegally, but I'm definitely in favor of deporting some of them. There were some bad apples there. Anyway, I'm no expert in immigration, other than I can say with great certainty this country can't sustain what's going on. I mean, we have to close the border. If you believe in open borders, you should never lock your door. If you think that anybody who wants to come into our house, this country being our house, should be able to come in, then they should be able to come into your house. So let's take another look at that screen. Yeah, 74 to 28. I mean, mind you, at 75 cents, now I just dropped to 73. Uh-oh. Anyway, at 75 cents, to keep round numbers, you're basically laying 3-1 odds. And at 73, you're laying pretty close to 3-1 odds if you want to bet on Donald Trump. It was not that way this morning. Trust me. It was, well, let me see if I could find it. There's a graph. Let me go to that page. Let me see if I can find the graph. Trends. Here we go. Nope, that ain't it. Markets. No, that ain't it. Well, now I lost the thing. So let's go back to president. Let's go presidency. Predict it. Somehow Somehow I anyway, okay, so let's get it out of that. Because that needs a little more work on my part. But when I come back, I'll show you the trends and you'll see how that's going. But today is monumental. I mean, Trump has all the momentum right now. And certainly, if I was betting, I would be betting on him to win at the moment. But it's still early and a whole lot can happen. So let's get the electoral map back on the screen. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see, is it up there? There it is. If I'm not mistaken, is it still 195 to 113? Oh, Harris picked up 4 more electoral votes. Where could they have been? I don't know, but somebody one of the states went for Harris. Okay, so I need to take a timeout. Like I said, I would a minute ago. Now I'm gonna really do it. Update the map, find the trends. Thank you, every single one of you who's watching right now. I will update this map in real time. So as soon as I get off, I will find the state that gave Harris those last 4 electoral votes, and we will take it from there. So let me get this to go full screen, and I'm gonna exit the room. I am back. Uh-oh, all of a sudden I'm getting text messages. I'm going to ignore those for now. Okay, anyway, I found the screen on. Oh, and by the way, yay, we set a record. I have 19 people watching live. My previous record was 18. I'm very, very happy about that. Most podcasts would shit a brick if they only had 19 viewers watching, but to me, that glass is not just half full, the glass is overflowing. Thank you, every single one of you, whether you're on Twitter or YouTube. I have no idea how to get anywhere else. I'm not going to go on Facebook. I'm already so canceled on Facebook. It's not even funny. So I don't want to cancel myself any further. There are people I actually care about, misguided, lovely people that they may be. But anyway, I found this. So let me open that up for you. Do I have it here? Yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, share that. And is it there? Okay, let me make that full screen. So this is over the last 90 days. The heavy blue line is Harris. The lighter blue line is Trump. You could see when the Joy campaign first started and she first got handed the nomination, she was way ahead. She was up near 60%, maybe even higher. And then as things went on, it got close. Then she pulled away again. Something happened that day on September 11th or 12th, got her to pull away. But then everything crashed and Trump took the lead. And Trump took a significant lead. He was over 60 on October 23rd or 4th, whatever it was. And then he tanked just a couple of days ago, and she took a lead, and people were depressed. Now, it doesn't show today very well, but let's change. Just to make it bigger, let's change that 90 to 30. And now you can see a little more graphically. Trump had his biggest lead right here. That was October 26th. And then he fell behind on November 3rd, just 2 days ago. He was behind. So let's look at the 7-day just to make it even bigger. You can see what happened there, but check this out. Look at that. It's like a pair of pliers. It's like a big claw. Trump today is just kicking ass. He's in the 70s. So let's see if I get the original screen back. No, not like that. I can't. But anyway, I mean, here it is. Here are the last 24 hours. And you can see what's happening now. The betting markets are going absolutely batshit crazy. And You can see right now 73 to 32. So there it is. So let me go back to the. It's still 195 to 117, but let me get the election map back up. So get that off, present. I'm getting better at this. I say that every week, but I really am getting better at it. Share that. And that is where things are right now. Virginia, you know what? I'm going to change Virginia to neutral. If Trump takes Virginia, let me talk about that in just a moment. Let's get into the mathematics of the whole thing. So there's Virginia neutral, and so here's the deal with them. Let's get the map up, and let's get my pretty face in the corner here. There we go. So Trump is expected now. Iowa, in spite of what that bullshit they pulled a couple of days ago, Iowa's going to go to Trump. So is Montana. So is Idaho. So is Utah. It's just not official yet. But if he does as expected and takes North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, that puts him at 268. And if Harris wins the entire blue wall, that puts her at 270. So Trump has the chance of losing this election by 2 electoral votes, which is why Virginia is so important. Because if Trump takes Virginia, he can lose all 3 of those blue wall states and still win the presidency by a fairly deep, well, not by a landslide by any means, but by a significant margin. So Virginia is in play. And I've been blathering to you guys, so I haven't really been listening to the so-called experts on TV. But a lot matters about which counties have voted, which counties are yet to vote, et cetera, et cetera. But hey, Trump did a rally in Virginia late in the game, and he seemed to think Virginia was in play. So if Trump doesn't take Virginia, he needs to take North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and either Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If he takes all 4 of those, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, and any one of those blue wall states, Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. And of the 19 people watching, I'm going to guess that at least 17 of you are going to be happy about that. I'm going to keep my Twitter open again. Go ahead and DM me on Twitter. I'll keep checking my messages. And if anybody wants to come on live with me or even call in, I'll put your voice over on the phone. Anything to say, or feel free if you're watching on YouTube to comment. I'd love to hear from you. This is intended to be a dialogue, not a monologue. But I am the blathering boomer. Oh, we got 20, another new record. Yay. I'm not sure who's watching, but thank you, every single one of you. Hey, when I first started doing this, I had 2 watchers, and I was very excited about that. Anyway, my text messages are going crazy. I'm not sure who's texting me. I'm going to, once again, exit the screen, mute my microphone, and leave the electoral map up. Right now, it's still of the states that have been called. Right now, it's 195 to 117 in favor of Trump, but Harris has several large states that are in the bag, especially California. So it's a lot closer than 195, 117 would seem, but you guys already know that, don't you? All right, I'm gonna step away from the mic for a while and stay tuned. I will update this map in as real time as I can as we go. I'm back, such as I am. Hey, you guys, all 20 of you hung in there. I love it. Thank you very much. Well, let's take a look. Let's drill down into Virginia for the moment, because again, I don't know what the county by county thing is, but let's see if you're seeing what I'm seeing. I mean, take a look at that. 60% of the vote is in, and Trump is winning by about 50,000 votes. This and like I said, Jill Stein and Oliver and Cornel West and De La Cruz collectively have 1.7% of the vote. the sweetest thing for me would be for Trump to win Virginia with less than 50% of the votes, meaning that the third parties killed Harris. Because, and this is not my higher self talking, and don't tell anybody I said this, but I just love watching heads explode. And if Kamala Harris loses Virginia and ergo, therefore, entonces, loses the presidency, because I think if Virginia goes to Trump, it is game over. If she loses the presidency because of Jill Stein or because she lost by a margin smaller than the number of votes that Jill Stein got, the exploding heads in the blame game, let them eat their own. Let them turn on each other. I'm so sick of them turning on me. And I'm sure the 20 of you watching have all experienced the voter shaming, or many of you have experienced the voter shaming. Maybe some of you just happen to be here randomly. And yeah, comment, don't comment. I respect your anonymity. A lot of people don't want to come on this show because they fear losing their job. That's happened in a few cases, and I respect it. It sucks. It's absolutely sucks. I mean, I have people in my company that work for me, full spectrum of non-voters, Harris supporters, Trump supporters. It has nothing to do with the work you do. Nobody should ever lose their job or have their employment compromised. But can you imagine being a teacher in New York City right now and coming out that you're voting for Trump? It would be big trouble. So anyway, there's Virginia. I'm going to refresh that screen real quick and see if there's any change. And it's still 1441 to 1387. The fact that it's this close is an indication of just how he's doing electorally. I don't have the numbers right now on the popular votes. I am very curious about that. It'll come up now. Who's texting me? I got a couple of people who are watching this who are texting me, but I won't mention their names. Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, well, somebody just commented in text. We know we'll never get the West Coast, just have to watch the rest. Well, I know I'm guessing a lot of you people watching are familiar with a man named Tyrus. And if you watch that show, Gutfeld, I highly recommend that show, by the way. It's a really good mixture of comedy and politics. Tyrus keeps saying it's not even close, it's not even close. We're gonna know before midnight, et cetera, et cetera. So the person who just texted me and said that we're not going to know tonight, I don't know. If Virginia holds form, let's refresh Virginia one more time here. A few more votes came in. Now we're still at 60%, but Trump has climbed from 50 to 50.1. Again, I'll do a little research into what counties are voting. This could be, but Virginia doesn't have any really big cities, so I don't know that the urban rural mix is that affected in a state like Virginia. Of course, you have all those counties in Northern Virginia near DC that would heavily go for Harris. And if you look there, it looks like a lot of the votes are already in from those counties. Like you could see, Fairfax County, Kamala's winning 66 to 31, with 62% of the votes counted there. You see all these little red dot counties, and a lot of them have. So Norfolk's another Harris stronghold. Again, kind of across the state. It looks just from this very, very tiny little sampling, it looks like, oh, here's 99% in Bath County. But it looks for the most part like 60%. Well, okay, Virginia Beach 31%. It's going towards Trump. So again, I'm blathering here. I tend to do that, hence the name of the show. So let's stop that screen and go to a different one. Let's go back to the presidential odds thing. And here we go. Now Trump is down to 70 cents. Again, the meaning of this is for every $7 you would bet on Trump, you would win 3. In other words, you'd get back 10. So 70 to 35 is huge. It's literally double. He literally is showing a 66.7% chance of winning based on these numbers. But that being said, he was at 74 a little while ago. So 70 is a little bit down. And let's see if I can, now that I know where the graph is, let's do the 24-hour graph. Well, it's not showing him going down. It's, I guess this graph hasn't quite caught up to where we are. Oh, there was a thing a couple of weeks ago where Newsom went from 1 cent to 2 cents. And that's when Harris was botching every interview she was doing and really looking like a completely unacceptable candidate. And all of a sudden, Newsom went from 1 cent to 2 cents. I'm like, whoa, could there be another switcheroo in the works? But no, they Newsom did not get the nomination away from Kamala Harris or whatever her name is. So let's get back to the electoral map, and I'm not sure that I'm up to date with it, so I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm going to go away from the microphone, and I'm going to update. Yeah, because I see it's I have 195, 117, but I'm showing Trump now with 205. So some state with 10 electoral votes went for Trump. Who could it be now? I'm not sure. I don't want to guess. I'll be back. The boomer, for the moment, has blathered. Yeah, in case you didn't see my last podcast, this is a thing. I said it about 4 times. Deadheads for Trump. People like to label people who voted for Trump as far-right QAnon MAGA maniacs, but a deadhead, a person who appreciates the Grateful Dead, is the furthest thing from a right-wing conservative for the most part. Yes, because the Grateful Dead scene is an open tent, and we do welcome everybody of all political persuasions. But for the most part, it's a left-leaning situation. Anyway, deadheads for Trump. Just to illustrate that regular people. So in 2016, I myself am guilty of this. I myself considered, people voting for Trump to be MAGA maniacs. Unthinkable. Again, my son got married in Europe in 2017. Steph and I went there, and it was in the aftermath of the election. I was apologizing to a cab driver in London, saying, "Please don't judge the American people by the fact that Donald Trump was elected president." That's how much disdain I had for Trump in 2016. It's changed. I'm only one person. I was talking to a coworker today. He felt the same way. He thought that Trump was this unelectable freak 8 years ago, and now he's passionately supporting him. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Regular people, not, it might have been the MAGA movement that got Trump elected in 2016, but it's a true populist movement that's going to get him, assuming if he wins, that's going to get him over the goal line in 2024. And right now, well, let's go back and I'll see at the same time you do. Let's take a look at where the betting market is. So he's still holding at 70%. I'm going to refresh the page and see if there's any change there. Oh, Lord have mercy. It might be game over. I mean, right now, you're going to get literally 6-1 odds if you bet on Harris. And you have to lay about 6-1, 85-16. Something is going on. I don't know what, but it looks really, really good for Donald Trump right now. I think I'm going to leave this podcast for a little while because I think I want to watch some MSNBC on my TV, which is over there, and see how they're handling it. And right now, again, it's still in total. Well, let me get back to your electoral map, but 85 to 16. Let's see what the trend looks like and how this came about. The 24-hour. There it is. This almost reminds me of Michigan in 2020. Well, all of a sudden, boom! But look at that. Look at that. It's I mean, you see it. I mean, there it is. It's in the last 4 hours, he's trending nothing but upwards, 85 to 16. If that has any credence whatsoever, Donald Trump will be the 47th president of these United States. So let's get that out of there. Let's get the electoral map back up there. Still holding steady at 20 viewers, and I am very grateful to every single one of you, whoever you may be. And again, feel free to reach out to me at UNG714 on Twitter, and I will answer all your emails, all your questions, all your comments. And no, whoever, Jay Marcus, we're not talking 85 cents per gallon for gas. Okay, I see the smiley face that came afterwards. No, that means that basically it means Trump has about an 85% chance of winning if you go by that particular website. So do I have okay, I'm back with the electoral map. On TV, it still says 205 to 117 in the states that have declared. Thank you for watching, all 20 of you. I'm going to take a break, try to catch up with my pager and my life a little bit. I will be back several times tonight. Hang in there, and I will leave this map up for your edification and otherwise enjoyment. I'm back. So there you see, it's 83-17, Trump over Harris in the predicted betting market. But check this out. This is an offshore sports book called sportsbook.com, and they do it with odds. And check this out. At this moment, if you want to bet on Harris, they will give you 5.5 to 1. For every dollar you bet, you will win $5.50 and collect $6.50. However, if you want to bet on Donald Trump, if you want to win $1, you have to bet $10.50 to win $1. This is overwhelming odds. This is like the Kansas City Chiefs playing against. This is the kind of money line you get if the Kansas City Chiefs were playing at home against the Carolina Panthers. This is an unreal high number. I'm not really ready to call it because these numbers were pretty high back in 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020, or maybe we don't really know what happened in 2020. I sure as hell don't know what happened in 2020, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, so I'm not going to, other than what I just said. But the states that have been declared, we're still holding it's 205 to 117. All 7 battleground states are too close to call. And let's check in on Virginia. I'm going to see at the same time you do, so I don't know what it's going to say. Actually, I have Wisconsin up right now, where Trump is holding a narrow lead with 48% of the votes counted. Once again, if Trump takes the states he's expected to take, meaning North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, Arizona, all he needs to do is win 1 out of 3, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, or Michigan. But now we can add Virginia to that list. So he needs to win 1 out of 4, assuming that he wins the 4 aforementioned states, being North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada. At the moment, last time I looked, he was doing really, really well, both in North Carolina and Georgia. So let's take a little trip to Virginia. He was holding a narrow lead last time I looked. And, that has flipped. It's still really, really close. Harris has a lead for 16,000 votes. Nobody's getting 50% of the vote. Once again, Jill Stein and others combining for 50,000 votes. And if nobody wins a state with 50% or more, somebody's going to get blamed. And again, and maybe I'm skewed on this, but I could see if Harris loses, the Democrats screaming about Jill Stein, whereas if Trump loses, I just don't think Jill Stein is going to get the blame. Personally, I voted for her in 2016, but some of her current policies regarding a certain region of the world are not particularly palatable to me. So I think she's just kind of virtual signaling there. Not important. The point is, it's razor thin there, and there's 51,000 votes, which is way more than the difference right now. So let's refresh that one time and see we're at 67% in, and we're still at 67% in, 16,000 vote difference. Let's go back to Pennsylvania, where Trump has a lead of over 100,000 votes, but we remember 2020, he was up by six figures then, and we're not sure exactly what happened now. So in Philadelphia, 45%. So statewide, 55% counted. Philadelphia, 45. So Harris will make up some ground when more votes come in Philly. What about Pittsburgh? Now in Pittsburgh, however, 74% counted, which means Trump makes up some ground because Pittsburgh's not going to have all that many more votes. Let's see what the biggest, strongest Republican area is. Probably right here, Westmoreland County. 61% of the votes are in. And where's the reddest red dot? That would be right here in Franklin County, 69%. So I'd say I think that's a pretty good representation of the state of Pennsylvania. I'm sorry, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'll find out who it was. Some guy went out and got the Amish to vote. The Amish, most of whom had never voted before. Somebody did a major push to get the Amish out there in Pennsylvania. So good for you. I will find you and talk to you. I'm just told that Bitcoin exploded today. It's up about 4,400. And yes, I agree with Jay Marcus that to the best of my knowledge, bullish on Bitcoin is a good sign for Trump being elected. There's all these signs. The only sign that matters is the Electoral College at the very end. So, but for now, if you're a Trump supporter or a Trump bettor, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. I went over to MSNBC for a while because I wanted to see if Rachel Maddow was freaking out, but they had the guy at the board, the MSNBC equivalent of Bill Hemmer, and he's pretty objective. I got no problem with him, but I do want to see, if it's looking that bad for Harris right now, I really do want to get back to MSNBC. So that being said, of the states that have declared, we're still at 205 to 117 in favor of Trump. Let's get that back up there. Hey there. I still have Virginia as neutral, but I think I'm going to put Virginia. Sadly, I'm gonna have to lean blue on Virginia now, since Harris has taken a bit of a lead. This is very slow to respond. Not a heavy lead, just a light lead. Let's go light blue on Virginia. Sorry about that. There we go. So, but again, if everything holds, and this requires Trump winning in Pennsylvania. If Trump does not win in Pennsylvania, that 286 falls below the 270. So at the moment he's leading there, and I got it leaning that way. I'm going to make Wisconsin neutral though. Michigan's definitely leaning towards Harris right now. The states that are in bright red or bright blue are the ones that have already declared. It's probably only a matter of time for Maine and Minnesota. Let me take a look at Minnesota. We can look at Minnesota together because Minnesota has not declared yet. So let's get to Minnesota. So that's still Pennsylvania. Trump again leading by over 100,000 votes. Let's take another quick check of Virginia while we're here. Harris leading by 12,000 votes in Virginia with 68% of the votes counted. What about Wisconsin? Trump up by 22,000 votes. Again, oh man, RFK Jr., who could not get his name removed from the ballot with 8,800 votes, others with 16,000. So once again, 1.5% of the votes going to not the two top candidates. Trump just climbed to 50%. And yeah, I'd love it if Trump won Wisconsin. Well, they're going to blame Kennedy no matter what. So that Jill Stein rule doesn't apply there. Let's take a quick little glimpse of Michigan and see how everything's going there. I haven't looked at Michigan really yet. As expected, Harris is leading, but Harris is only leading by 2,500 votes. And once again, Jill Stein and others with 22,000 votes. So Michigan's very much in play. Detroit, let's see, total statewide, 22% counted, but 61% of Detroit's counted, 61% of Washtenaw County counted, Grand Rapids, 30%, Trump stronghold Ottawa, 37. Michigan's actually looking pretty good right now. That I did not expect, and maybe that's what's playing into that whole thing of Trump being such an overwhelming favorite in the betting market. And that is still Trump has dropped to minus 1,000. He was minus 1050 a few minutes ago. Again, you gotta they have him, translating this into percentages, it's him having like 80% chance of winning, which is not 100%. And again, back in 2020, those betting numbers were really, really high for him after the first few states came in. So nothing is certain. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, but it sounds like she might be clearing her throat. So let's go back. I never did. I blathered my way out of checking Minnesota. So let's go to Minnesota. I still got Michigan up, but that's easy enough to change. And Michigan will now become Minnesota. That would be hysterical if Trump takes Minnesota. I don't think he has a chance there, but let's see. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, only 4% of the votes counted, but Trump has a substantial, very big lead in the early voting. Rice County, which is leans Harris. Minneapolis. Yeah, you see, there's hardly anything in from the big cities in Minnesota, so I wouldn't get too excited about that at this point. So let's get that off of there and go back to the electoral map. Nothing's changed as far as states that have declared. Again, I'm showing Wisconsin as neutral. I moved Virginia out of neutral and into leaning blue. But Trump still has a very significant path to victory. If everything holds the way it is right now, he'll walk away with 286. Again, he could lose Arizona and he can lose Nevada. In fact, if he takes Pennsylvania, he can lose Arizona and Nevada. So he has a lot of paths to victory right now. either take Pennsylvania and not worry about those Western states, take the Western states and win either Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. Again, this is assuming Georgia and North Carolina hold. And while I'm here, let's take a look at Georgia and North Carolina, because I haven't looked there for a while. Okay, let's get Minnesota off there, and let's start with Georgia. How you looking, Georgia? It's looking pretty good earlier. Well, with 88% of the votes in, Trump is holding a 200,000 vote lead. I think it's looking pretty good for Trump in Georgia. 88% of the vote. And what about Atlanta? Yeah, Atlanta 82%, DeKalb County 83%. So those are the big Harris strongholds. 82% in Cobb County, 72 in Gwinnett. Did I say Trump's strongholds? I meant Harris strongholds. Trump's stronghold would be Hall County, where almost all the votes are counted. So the earlier voting there was a little bit skewed towards Trump. So I wouldn't get too excited yet, but it still looks pretty good. But Georgia's kind of a must-win state. So is North Carolina, for all those theories to come true. North Carolina, he's holding a 100,000 vote lead with 84% of the votes counted. 98% of the votes in Mecklenburg County, which is where Charlotte is, and Raleigh, 80%, Greensboro, 75, Durham, 96. North Carolina is looking pretty good for Trump right now, I gotta say. And he's got a majority there, not just a plurality. Okay, so I'm getting hoarse. I gotta drink some water or something. So let's get this back. Let's get back to the electoral map. I'm going to take another break. I hope that we're holding steady at 20 viewers. I hope some of you are finding this reasonably informative. I have a comment. RFK Jr. asked to be withdrawn in swing states, and they left him on an interview. I'm not sure that makes sense. Well, I know he wanted to be off the ballot in swing states, and they wouldn't. As hard as he fought to get on the ballot, that's how hard he fought to get off the ballot. And there is that one state, I think it was Wisconsin, where Kennedy is getting half of 1% of the vote, which could tilt things. So I do believe that every vote for Kennedy hurts Trump. And I say that with the greatest of respect for Kennedy. So let's get back to the electoral map. I'm going to take a well-deserved break. And again, thank you all for watching. It's very humbling. I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth, but apparently some of you find that interesting enough to tune in, and I am very, very grateful for that. So I am going to remove myself from the conversation right now. I'm back. Ooh, we lost somebody. We're down to 19 viewers. Okay, that's fine. Well, I'm going to check by text because you never know. It could be pertinent to the election. Okay. Again, if you go by the betting markets are going out of control right now in favor of Trump. So let's take a quick look at PredictIt. $92. That's the highest I've seen. Once again, let's look at the 24-hour graph. And you could see it's just the last few hours. So I can't really. Yeah, it's like the last 4 or 5, ever since the polls closed, Trump's just been out of control, going up, up, up. Essentially, they're saying that he has about a 90. Well, if you average it out, 12 is 88, 92 is 92. So according to PredictIt, Trump at this moment has a 90% chance of winning. If we go to sportsbook.com, Last time I looked, it was even crazier there. Right now, if you want to bet on Donald Trump, you have to wager $17 to win $1. If you want to bet on Harris, you bet $1 to win $10. That's what these numbers mean. What it means is sportsbook.com is giving Trump over a 90% chance of winning. As much as I'd love to celebrate that, as much as I'd love to say it's game over, it ain't over. At this point in 2020, I was saying it was game over, and it was not game over. I went to bed with Wisconsin and Michigan middle red, and I woke up and they were blue. I have an 8 o'clock in the morning dental appointment tomorrow, so I'm not going to stay up as late as I did last year. Hopefully, Tyrus is right. Hopefully, Tyrus insists many times over that this is not even close. And I hope he's right. I hope the fact that it matters, not just that I hope it's over soon and we get Trump needs to win and win in a landslide. He needs to erase all questions. And I honestly, I think that I haven't seen any figures on the popular vote yet, but I think there's a significant chance Trump could still win the popular vote. Actually, I'm going to do this off screen for now. Let me see if I can get a number on this. On the popular vote. Let's see. No, there's no lines on the popular vote right now. This morning, Trump was a 3-1 underdog in the popular vote. I have a feeling that that number is a lot lower right now. So, and I go by the bookmakers. They do this for a living. They're not experts. In 2020, at one point, Trump was about a 5-1 favorite. He never quite got to where he is now. I mean, now it's out of control, 17-1. But they were wrong in 2020, and they were wrong in 2016. Trump was a huge underdog for the longest time, even into election night in 2016, and he pulled it off. So let's get back to the electoral map. The only thing that's changed since the last time I was on was that they announced Idaho, they announced Iowa, in spite of that poll. And now it looks like Trump picked up one more electoral vote. So I suspect it might be that District 3 in Maine, or District 1 in Maine, rather. And I will figure that out while I'm off screen. Oh, boy, this is exhausting. And I'm just sitting here on my couch. Sorry about the hat. I'm having a bad hair day, so I got to wear the hat. Plus, I like this. I mean, Stephanie bought this for me in Barcelona, but BB is perfect. Blathering Boomer. And we need to get Ashley a hat with one more B, but that is a very, very separate story. Okay, I am blathering. Let me get out of here. Well, I just got some news on the TV. It looks like Moreno beat Sherrod Brown in Ohio. So Republicans officially have 50 Senate seats. If Trump's elected, that means Vance is deciding vote. If they get one more seat, there are still several that are undecided, Montana and a few others where there are competitive races. The Republicans will have an outright majority in the Senate. What's important about that, well, there's a lot of things important about that, but the very first thing that comes up is you need Senate approval for your cabinet. And a Democrat Senate might not approve Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr., who they regard as traitors. I won't go any further about that at this point. Let me get my pretty face back up there. Again, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm having a bad hair day. It seems like every day is a bad hair day. Anyway, yeah, that's good news if you're rooting for the red team. 50. It's officially 50 senators, Republican senators in the Senate right now. I've always had a question about that because there were two more Republican senators than Democrat senators, and yet the Democrats were the majority party. I get it that Harris had the deciding vote, but two so-called independents, because they caucus with the Democrats, counted as Democrat senators, Bernie Sanders being one of them. So I'm pretty hard on Bernie Sanders, who I once really supported. As an independent, I think him calling himself an independent is an absolute insult to independence. Just go ahead and call yourself a Democrat, Bernie boy. You know, you're. I got my first clue about Bernie Sanders when I sent him my $27 and I got the receipt from Act Blue. I wasn't donating to the Democrat Party. I was donating to Bernie. And Bernie just turned out to be, I mean, some people think that they have the goods on him, that something happened with his wife with a fraudulent loan application and they're blackmailing him. I don't know. I guess that's possible. The other thing that's equally possible is that he's just a sellout, or maybe even a never was. But I am ashamed of being a supporter of his at one time, and I'm even more ashamed of being a supporter at one time of the 44th president, whose name shall not be spoken tonight on this podcast. But I remember the night I was sitting right where I'm sitting right now, watching them dance in the streets of Chicago, tears running down my face. I was so happy. So happy. I said out loud, "We took the country back. We took it back." Yeah. Little did I know we went from the frying pan to the fire when they elected that one. Anyway, it looks like the Republicans have officially flipped 2 Senate seats. I mean, this is really beginning to look like a red wave. I don't want to. I'm not ready to spike the ball in the end zone yet, but at this point, with 2 Senate seats flipped, and Trump either leading or tied in just about every swing state, and the odds, well, yeah, I won't go on screen with them, but the sportsbook.com line right now has Trump at 16-1 favorite. Predict It, which was 90 cents a minute ago, is now still at 90 cents again. Basically, both those places are saying that Trump has a 90-ish% chance of winning this election. But it ain't over till it's over. We got to keep our eye on the prize. We got to keep our eye on the ball. No matter who wins, I just want free and fair elections. That's all I want. I want to. Whoa, Trump's got a lead in Minnesota right now. Oh, if he takes Minnesota, wow. You know what? First of all, Trump missed an opportunity. I've been saying this for a couple of days now. When Trump called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas some years ago, and I was a big fan at one time of Elizabeth Warren's, when he called her Pocahontas, when he called her Pocahontas, I was outraged. How racist, how horrible. I'm a big fan of Native Americans. I worked with them a lot. I was a big supporter of the resistance at Big Mountain in Arizona back in the 80s. I couldn't believe he was calling Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas until it came out that she's a phony. She has as much Native American blood as I do, and I'm Hungarian. Forget about it. Forget about it. So then I realized it's genius. It was genius calling her Pocahontas. So in the same exact sense that Trump would call a phony Native American Pocahontas, he missed an opportunity. I'm sorry I didn't think of this until a couple of days ago, but he should be calling Tim Walz Rambo because Tim Walz is Rambo like Elizabeth Warren is Pocahontas, if you understand the analogy there. If Trump takes Minnesota, I know it's not my higher self speaking, but oh boy, in your face, Tampon Tim, with your phony military record, carrying weapons of war into Afghanistan, and all the shit that's come out of your mouth. I can't. The guy hadn't spoken a word of truth. This guy, yeah, in 2008, I was terrified of Sarah Palin being a heartbeat away from the presidency. I've also been terrified for the last 4 years of Harris being a heartbeat away from the presidency, especially with Biden hanging by a thread. But I'd be more terrified than either of them if Tim Walz was a heartbeat away from the presidency. And vice president matters. I mean, sometimes it matters not at all, and sometimes it matters a whole hell of a lot. Talk to Harry Truman. Talk to Lyndon Johnson. Uh, Talk to Andrew Johnson. Presidents sometimes die in office. Trump was talking about how, I guess, race car drivers have something like a less than 1% mortality rate, but presidents are like 3 or 4%. It does happen. And when that does happen, the vice president becomes the president. I'm glancing at my TV right now, and I saw that with 88% of the vote in North Carolina, Trump has a substantial lead. Again, Trump needs to take, well, Trump has a much wider path to victory right now than Harris does. But the cornerstone of Trump's path to victory really does involve taking Georgia and North Carolina, and looking very, very good in both those states right now. And again, I go by the betting markets. These bookmakers do this for a living, and people who are betting serious money in some cases. I don't have any money on it, but I use those because I believe the betting markets over the polls. And what happened with the betting market, I kind of went into a panic a couple of days ago because all of a sudden Trump had all the momentum. He was gaining, took a lead, took a bigger lead. All of a sudden, Harris caught up to him like in a day. It was because of that Iowa bullshit. They came out with that Des Moines Register poll saying that Harris was going to take Iowa by 4.5 points. I think Trump took it by 10 points in reality. So once the dust cleared from that, reality set in. And Trump, again, on the predictic market right now is he dropped a penny. He's only at 89 now. Could it be a trend? And you know what? It's always scary. I don't like seeing any trends in the wrong direction. I guess I'm clearly supporting Trump. Oh, yeah. Let me take this a moment to say that the Blathering Boomer endorses Donald J. Trump to be the 47th president of the United States. There, I finally did it. I've for the first time since that campaign, have I endorsed somebody. And it's what a dream team they're going to have going in if this holds up. You got Vivek and Elon and Tulsi and Bobby Jr. And you know what? J.D. Vance is no slouch. I like the guy. He's a badass. He destroyed Dana Bash. Going to the House, by the way, for a moment, the Democrats have flipped one seat, but the Republicans have flipped three. It's looking like this is very possible going to be a 47th president that was once the 45th president, with a majority in the Senate, a majority in the House. My friends in the Bay Area are going to absolutely hate it. They're going to call this a fascist thing. They're going to go. I could hear it all right now. I wonder if if Barbara Streisand and the other one, whoever, these people who say they're leaving the country, I really hope they do. I hope that, they don't have to be deported. They can just leave. It's absurd. And you know what? I posted this on Twitter today. You have all of these Hollywood people coming out and stumping for Harris. I wonder, and I'm no expert on the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, but I would love to get some information on how much these people were paid, because it's really, really strange that they're all coming out. Either they're getting paid directly or CAA is telling them that they're never going to work again if they don't do something for Harris. And you could see so many of them. They look like a deer in the headlights, reading prepared words, not even words of their own. I don't care. It's Hollywood has fallen. So I'm looking at the map on TV right now. They're showing in the declared states 216 for Trump, 193 for Harris. And I have 189 for Harris. So she picked up 4 electoral votes somewhere. I suspect it's Hawaii, but I'm not sure. I'm going to take a break and find out. but that's where the news has it right now. 216 for Trump, 193 for Harris. I'm only showing 189 for Harris, so let me get that corrected. And I'm going to stop blathering for the moment. And just to update real quickly, that four electoral vote disparity is New Hampshire. I had it the TV declared New Hampshire for Harris, but thank you, Ashley, for pointing this out on Twitter. The AP has not declared it for Harris, so I removed it from Harris's declared column and put it in a lean column, and that's why I'm showing her with 4 fewer votes than the TV is showing. And let me get back to that map. Maps. Okay, back to my break. Anyway, that's where the 4 vote disparity comes from. It is New Hampshire that I had removed from Harris's declared column.
To win in all 7.
All right, let me turn down the TV here.
Over the last 36 hours.
So yeah, Trump took North Carolina. Whoa! Not that I am biased or anything like that, of course. Trump took North Carolina, and the betting markets are even more intense now than they were before. This time I'll actually share them with you. I've been sharing these all night. And let's start with predictit.com. 93-8. Again, that translates to more than a 90% chance of Trump victory. If you so on predictit.com, which again, I actually thought about signing up for it, but they asked for way too much personal information, so I didn't want to touch it. But if you were a member of predictit.com and you wanted to make $7, you'd have to put up 93. You'd have to bet 93 to win 7 on Predictit if you want to bet on Trump. If you want to bet on Harris, you could bet $8 to win 92. So that's predictit.com. And again, let's look at the trend in the last 24 hours. I mean, look at the right-hand side of that. That is just whoosh. Whoosh. Let's look at the 7-day trend. It's not quite as pronounced. However, I got to point this out. Look how things were on November. Just 3 days ago, on November 2nd, Harris was at 56 cents. She is now at 8 cents. Let's go to the 30-day. Actually, I want to go to the 90-day. When Harris first declared, she was at 59 cents. She dipped as people got to know her better. She fell to 52, but she never trailed Trump until mid-October. Trump took a lead, a substantial lead. Then, with that Iowa bullshit, he crashed just a couple of days ago. Let's put this on the 7th day to make it more clear. There's Trump crashing on November 2nd. My parents would have been their 72nd anniversary. Wow. 72nd anniversary, mom and dad, wherever you are. And but then again, Trump catches her today and is just running away with it. Right now, again, Trump's at 93 cents. Then if we swing over to sportsbook.com, so 25-1. In other words, if you want to bet on Trump, you have to bet $25 to win $1. Harris comes back at plus 1,000, which is 10-1 odds. You can bet. So that's consistent with Predictit. You bet $1 on Harris and you'll win 10. But she has to win. and I just saw Wisconsin go by on my TV, and it looks like Trump's looking pretty good in Wisconsin. So I'm going to go ahead and change that map and put Wisconsin leaning well. Let me get back on the screen first. And is it up? It's up, and I've put Wisconsin back in the leaning Trump. Let me take a look at Michigan. I'll do that off screen. First of all, let me make sure I'm correct about Wisconsin. So right now in Wisconsin, Trump is leading by 81,000 votes, 70% of the votes in. That's a pretty light lean, I got to say. Kennedy is getting half of 1%. Other candidates, so between Kennedy and other candidates, there's 34,000 votes there. Trump's leading by 81, so the third party is not really affecting it. Trump has a majority, not just a plurality in Wisconsin at the moment, 51%, but there's still a lot of votes yet to come. That's what 70% in. I think Virginia got declared for Harris, but let me just visit Virginia real quick one more time. Yeah, I mean, Trump made some noise in Virginia, but AP has declared that one for Harris. I think it's already there on my map. Now let me take a look at Michigan. Michigan, I really expected Harris to win. If Trump takes Michigan, it's humiliating for Kamala. Only 41% of the votes counted, so there's still a long way to go. Trump with 51.6% of the votes, leading by 121,000 votes. But again, there's only 41% of the votes counted. Here, I'll put this up on the screen so you can see what I'm seeing real quick here. No, maybe not real quick. I don't do anything real quick anymore. So here's Michigan. And here's Michigan. Okay. So these dots kind of show so again, with Michigan, statewide, 42% of the votes counted. Now, we all know that urban centers tend to favor Democrats and rural areas tend to favor Republicans. So you could see a big blue dot here for Detroit. But this is Oakland County, where Harris is performing really well, but 78% of the votes have been counted there. Here in Wayne County, again, but only 15% of the votes in Wayne County. 67%. So in the Harris strong, Grand Rapids also. So honestly, Michigan's looking pretty good for Trump right now because he's got a lead, 51.6%. Again, only 42% of the votes counted, but a lot of votes, again, 78% in Oakland County counted already. So the remaining votes are not going to be heavily Harris necessarily. So let's go back to the electoral map. $19 people watching, and I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and put Michigan leaning. God, so that's kind of where we were when we went to bed 4 years ago today-ish, 4 years and 2 days ago, whatever it was. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, all were leaning red. If this holds, Trump ends up with 312 electoral votes. That is an electoral landslide. North Carolina, so the seven swing states, and it looks like Virginia. Virginia's already been declared by the AP, so let's put Virginia in Harris's column here. Everything's responding very slowly. I guess a lot of people are using this interactive map. Come on, Virginia doesn't want to go into Harris's column. That's what's happening here. There we go. Except I went in with the wrong color. Let's keep scrolling that around. Technical difficulties, and I'm a boomer. And when boomers have technical difficulties, it could be catastrophic. No, it's not red. There. All right. So, so right now, of the states that have declared, Trump is leading 232 to 202. Harris picked up 10 more electoral votes. She must have taken Minnesota. So I'm going to, off screen, I'm going to take a look at Minnesota. Something tells me that's too bad. I would have liked to stick it to Tim Walz. Minnesota, well, Harris leads substantially in Minnesota. I don't see that AP has confirmed it for her yet, but that's probably where her next 10 electoral votes will come from the state of Minnesota. Oh, you know what? Right. There's a 10 electoral vote disparity because I still have New Hampshire in play. So it could be New Hampshire, and no, that New Hampshire is only 4. New Mexico is 5. Has New Mexico been declared yet? I'm looking up New Mexico off screen right now. New Mexico has been declared for Kamala Harris with 51.8% of the vote. So let me put that into a deeper shade of blue. If this thing would cooperate, which it doesn't seem to want to. Come on, New Mexico. There we go. New Mexico deep blue. So I'm 5 electoral votes short of. Oh, you know what? I'm guessing that. So with all due respect to Ashley, just to be consistent with the TV set, I'm going to go ahead and give New Hampshire back to Kamala. And if that changes, Trump has a very, very wide path to victory, and Harris has almost none. Oops, I didn't mean to do that to Maine. Yeah, Maine's back there. New Hampshire is there. So 232. Oh, so I'm missing 1 electoral vote for Trump, and I think it is the Maine 3rd district. Didn't mean to do that. Let's see. There we go. So 232, and Harris has 212. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna give Harris that extra vote in that one place in Nebraska that has Omaha, that has a separate electoral vote. I'm going to put that into Harris's column, and that'll be consistent with the TV news, which of course is a very, very reliable source of information. Right now, I can't get this to do what I needed to do. Ugh. I guess the whole country is using this interactive map. I didn't mean to put Nebraska into uncertain territory. I have a good internet connection also, so I don't know what's going on. I got to figure it's this is an overtaxed website. All right, well, I'm going to work on this. I just came back to announce North Carolina. Again, it looks like the Republicans will take the Senate, and we'll have a bigger House majority. So there's a really good chance of the Republican. God, if you would have told me not that many years ago that I'd be happy that the Republicans would take the Senate, the Congress, and the presidency, I would have told you to check yourself in to the nearest institution, that you're nuts. Nuts. There's no way I would have ever said that. That's how bad the Democrats have become. I haven't changed my views. So many people say this. I didn't leave the left left me, but it's not a cliche. It's true. This wokeism has destroyed the idealistic left. There's no idealism in wokeism. None. It's faux idealism. It's virtue signaling bullshit. And I'm sad for the people who aren't awake as opposed to woke. So I'm trying as hard as I can to put this one electoral vote from Nebraska into Harris's column, and it doesn't want to go there, and I don't blame it. But we're getting closer. Maybe one more click. Come on, that should have done it. All right, I'm gonna take another break. 19 people watching. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hawaii closes in a few minutes. I'm pretty sure Hawaii. Okay, well, the Hawaii Senate race is called. Republicans have a majority in the Senate. They have 51 seats. Wow. So who would you like to see as the Republican leader now that the quintuple chin turtle has stepped down? I am no fan of Mitch McConnell. I am Hey, you know what? Because right is right. Right is right, And a lot of people maybe who were supporting Trump will disagree with me. I believe, as much as I dislike Barack Obama, and I do now dislike Barack Obama, Hawaii must have gone for Harris because they're showing her with 216. So let's give Hawaii to Harris. Obama had the right to Merrick Garland. I mean, I'm glad that the result is that Merrick Garland is not only not on the Supreme Court, but he's hopefully soon to be fired as Attorney General, because the guy is a partisan, scary, monstrous type. But Obama had the right to appoint a Supreme Court judge. He was the incumbent president and had a long way to go. He had like 9 months left in his presidency. So it was wrong for them to deny Obama appointing a Supreme Court justice. Right is right. So I'm not a fan of Mitch McConnell. He's also a warmonger, and he was not a good leader. He was not an effective leader. Good riddance to him. I'm hoping they come up with Rand Paul. That's just my opinion. So I matched the TV once again. 232 declared for Trump, 216 for Harris. Disclaimer, asterisk. Some are saying New Hampshire's still in play. And if it is, I will happily change the map. But for now, that's where we are. I think Minnesota, any second, is going to end up in the Harris column. So there we go. Trump has 232. He needs 270 to win. Well, what's left for him? Again, this is old news. If he takes Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, that will give him another 27, 33. That puts him at 265. 17 and 16 is 33. That'll put him at 265. Not enough. He needs to take either Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. He needs one of those three. Alaska's probably safely in his column. That's right. I'm gonna put Alaska in Trump's column, even though it hasn't declared yet. So there's the issue, and this has been talked about for a while now. Trump takes those three southern states, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. It gives him 268. And if Harris sweeps the blue wall, she's at 270. Trump needs to find one more electoral vote, and it looks like so Trump has to take either Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. If he takes Pennsylvania, he can lose Arizona and Nevada. It won't matter. If he takes Michigan or Wisconsin, he could still lose Arizona or Nevada, and it won't matter. Takes Pennsylvania, he can lose both. So Harris's path to victory is she has to sweep the blue wall states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. That's all she needs to do, really. But she's hard-pressed to do that. So let's go, even though I want to take a break, I want to go to those three states real quick because that's what it's going to come down to. So let's change the screen and go to the states. Yeah, New Mexico's gone. So let's go alphabetically. Let's start with Michigan. Michigan, we were like at about 40% in a little while ago. Where are we at now? 46% of the votes in. Trump's still holding about 130,000 vote lead. I think it looks good for him because this county, Oakland County, has 79% of the votes already counted. Wayne County, not that many. Washtenaw County could sit, well, more than statewide. Grand Rapids, same thing. And here, yeah, Ottawa County, Trump's mostly in. But again, if you look at what I was just looking at, what's left in Michigan is not particularly top heavy for Harris. So I think Michigan is very much leaning towards Trump. Let's take a look at Pennsylvania, which everybody's been talking about it being, I guess it's called the Keystone State for a reason. Trump with a sizable, 174,000 vote lead. 84% of the votes are in. So let's do a little math. So let's say 6 million votes are in, 15% are left. So 15% of 6 million is 900,000 votes. Am I right? 15% of 6 million is 900,000 votes. So Trump Trump just needs, if Trump wins even 40% of what's left, he will take Pennsylvania and be the 47th president of the United States. Now, what about Wisconsin, which is where he was doing better than either of them a little while ago? If he takes Wisconsin, he has a very broad path to victory. Trump leading by 100,000 votes, 77% of the votes in. Okay, so Madison is a heavy Harris area, 91% in already at Madison. A lot of votes still coming in Milwaukee, but Madison's actually a bigger county than Milwaukee somehow. Madison's where the University of Wisconsin is. Green Bay, where Brett Favre recently endorsed Trump, and only 35% of the votes. So Trump is looking really good in Wisconsin right now. I gotta say, 77% of the votes counted. I'm gonna change the map and put Wisconsin a little stronger for Trump. So let me get back to the map. And here it is. So I'm going to make Michigan, I'm on Wisconsin, a darker shade of red. It's not quite declared. So let's say Trump takes Michigan. That puts him at 245. Let's say he takes Georgia. Well, let's visit Georgia. I'll do it off screen. And he had a pretty good lead in Georgia last time I looked. Yeah, he's up by 120,000 votes in New Hampshire, in Georgia. 93% of the votes counted. So with 5 million votes in, 7% left, that means 350,000 votes yet to count. And Trump is leading by 120,000. It's almost a statistical impossibility for Harris to take Georgia, but we saw some statistical. God, that's hard to say. I'll say it slowly. We saw some statistical impossibilities in 2020, so take nothing for granted. Trump looking really, really good in Georgia, though. So am I sharing the? Yeah, I got the map on there. Okay, I'm gonna take another break. What is it? It's 9:09 woke Hollywood time right now. I'll probably stay on until 10 o'clock. I have an 8 o'clock in the morning dentist appointment tomorrow, so I got to get some sleep. I'd love it if a couple of these states went. Okay, so anyway, back to the conversation. If Trump takes Georgia, puts him at 251. If he takes Georgia and Wisconsin, he's at 261, which means all he has to do is take Arizona. Takes Arizona, it's game. If he takes Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin, game over. If he takes Georgia, Nevada, Wisconsin, I don't think it's enough. 16, 32. He ends up at 267. No bueno. So Wisconsin's becoming the important state. Wisconsin, Georgia, Arizona gives Trump the presidency. And that's with him losing Michigan and Pennsylvania. He's leading in both those states right now. One last quick glance at the predicted market. Predicted's up to 95 cents for Trump now. 95 for Trump. And Sportsbook has taken down the race. They've taken it off the board. That's saying, like they say in the movie The Irishman, it's saying something. It's definitely saying something. I can't declare Trump the winner. I'm hoping I will do that before I go to bed. All right, I'm getting punchy. I'm blathering. So let me remove myself from this conversation and leave you with the map. I will be back to say goodnight or with any updates. Okay, I'm back. I'm sunk way deeper into my chair than I was before. I'm getting, even though I'm on the West Coast, it is only 9:36 here. I'm getting sleepy, but I'm back to tell you that according to Rachel Maddow, Trump has taken Georgia. So let's get that electoral map back on the screen. And let's see if I could do this without any major lag. Okay, Georgia. Let's give you one click. Let's give you one more click. Georgia is now in Trump's column. He officially has 251 electoral votes. He needs another 18 to tie, 19 to win. So if he takes Pennsylvania, he's at 270. It's all over. He takes Pennsylvania. He takes any two. Well, no. If he takes Nevada and Arizona, that's not enough. He still has to take either Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. He takes any one of those three. So, okay. Michigan, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin, plus either Nevada or Arizona. Wisconsin and Nevada is not enough. He has to take two more states. He has to either take two more states or he has to take Pennsylvania. So there it is. If one of those two states is Nevada, then he also has to take Michigan. So Nevada and Michigan get him in. Pennsylvania gets him in. Wisconsin and Arizona gets him in. Wisconsin and Michigan gets him in. Right now, it looks a whole lot better for Trump than it does for Harris. And I got to tell you, it was kind of sweet hearing Rachel Maddow declare Georgia to be in Trump's column. All right, I'm going to sink a little further into this couch, but I wanted to bring those of you, hey, 22 viewers, That is a new Blathering Boomer record. Thank you, all 22 of you. You are part of broadcast history. Oh, I'm tired. Okay. Let's get me off this screen and get back to let's see what comes next. Well, let's take a quick little tour around the states before I go off screen, though. So let's go back to the. We'll check out each of these yet to be decided states. We'll check the betting market first. Predictit.com. It was in 91. Let's refresh that. 93. So again, that's they're saying that Trump has a better than 90% chance of winning on Predictit.com. The betting site that I was looking at earlier has taken the election off the board, which is saying something. Now let's go to the states that are still in the discussion. And let's here we go. All right, so let's start with Arizona. We haven't really looked at that one very much. Trump's leading by a very thin margin in Arizona with half the votes in. There's all kinds of weirdness in Arizona. I don't want to spend any time there. Next, let's look at Nevada. We haven't looked at Nevada at all yet. Nevada is the least critical of the undecided states with 6 electoral votes, but it could matter. There is a combination where Nevada would be a piece of his victory, and, well, Nevada is not showing anything. So, all right, we're not going to talk about Nevada. What about Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania was getting pretty close to being a lock. I don't like to say lock, but it was getting pretty close to being a lock. Pennsylvania, Trump is leading by 175,000 votes. 86% of the votes counted. So again, let's do the math. 6 million votes are in, 86%. So 14% yet to vote. 14%. My ability to do math is waning. 14% of 6 million is about 840,000. That's not a really accurate one. It's not 14% of the total so far. It's 14% of the total, including the ones that haven't voted. But anyway, let's say there's another. Well, let's just say there's 1 million votes yet to count. I don't think there were that many. And Trump's leading by 175,000. So Harris would need a pretty strong majority of those last 1 million votes, which is not impossible. Now let's see who's voted there. Philadelphia, 78%. So Philadelphia is top heavy with more Harris votes yet to come. Pittsburgh, 94%. So Pittsburgh's just about done. Allentown, 98%. Montgomery County, 79%. Delaware County, 93%. So there's a lot of votes yet to come, but there's a lot of votes yet in some of these Trump areas or these neutral areas like Cumberland County, Lancaster County. Actually, Trump's doing well in both of them. Lancaster County is pretty much voted, so is Cumberland. Anyway, Pennsylvania is looking pretty good for Trump. Let's look at Michigan. Michigan's a weird one. Well, they're all weird in their own way. Trump has a very substantial lead in Michigan, but again, only 56% of the votes counted. But Trump's up by 6.4 percentage points. Wisconsin was looking the best for Trump last time I looked. Trump with a lead of 114,000 votes with 83% of the vote in. And again, Madison County has almost completely reported. It's the Milwaukee that is the big one here. Harris has taken about 2/3 of the votes in Milwaukee, so she's going to have an edge there. All right, so I think that covers all the swing states. Let's put the electoral map back up there. I don't see anything. I'm not sure what else is going to get declared in the next while. It's they're really slow to declare anything right now. And I'll put that electoral map back up there. And I am going to take yet another break. I'm in California. There's labor laws. Okay. So let's update everything. Whoever's texting me needs to stop. Wow. Okay. So first of all, let's share this. This is quite insane. Back to predict it. And this is the biggest number I've seen. 97. 97 for Trump, which means if you were playing a predict it, you would have to put up $97 to win 3. So predicted is basically saying Trump has a better than 95% chance of winning. I just tuned into MSNBC a little while ago, and to say it's a somber mood would be an understatement. They're already making all their excuses. But if you want some real entertainment, I would never really don't do it for more than 5 minutes. Don't do it for more than 5 minutes because it could be toxic. You know, I can last about maybe 90 seconds watching The View. I could probably do 5 minutes of, but the combination of Chris Hayes, Rachel Maddow, and Joy Reid is a little bit lethal. So I think you could survive 5 minutes watching them completely lose their minds because they know it's over. But yeah, so that's what predicted has to say. 97 for Trump. The betting market has taken it down. You can't even make bets on it anymore at sportsbook.com. And now let's get back to the states. So first let me find the website. Here we are. It's the AP website, basically. So yeah, this is why I came back. Minnesota is kind of still in play here. Let me do a refresh on this. 70% of the votes in, more or less. Trump is only down by 72,000 votes. But the thing of it is, in Minnesota, Minneapolis is obviously the big Harris. You could see Harris is getting 70% of the votes in Minneapolis. But 96% of those votes have already been counted. So there'll be very few of those coming in. And Trump is performing very well in the rest of the states. So this race is closer than it looks. And I would absolutely love it. I don't really believe in twisting the knife. But in the case of Rambo, the governor of Minnesota, and his wife, who liked to leave the windows open so she could smell the burning rubber while her husband let the city burn. No, this couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Trump takes Minnesota. That is just in your face kind of stuff. So that's Minnesota. So let's see what there's only a few states to talk about now. Minnesota, surprisingly, Minnesota is one of them. I think New Hampshire is pretty much cooked, but let's go there real quick. New Hampshire still hasn't been called by the AP, and it's only a 22,000 vote lead. Well, who knows now? 88% of the votes counted. Concord is Harris territory where almost every vote's been counted. Durham, 99% counted. Well, you know what? New Hampshire's still in play. New Hampshire's still in play. So let me, I'm pulling New Hampshire out of the solid blue column and putting it back in the lean blue column along with Minnesota. Minnesota making a light blue because those big cities have mostly all reported, and anything could still happen. So that I'm finding out when you are. All right, let's go to Michigan, where the votes are being counted pretty slowly. Oh, it's still 62%, so it's moving along there, and Trump has a very significant lead, 6.7%, 240,000 votes. Michigan's pretty close to declarable, I dare say. Now, what about Detroit? What about the big urban centers? I guess Detroit is Wayne. Okay, so here's the opposite. Kamala Harris is doing well in Wayne County, only 23% of the votes there. So Michigan's closer than it looks. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, which is the place that's gotten all the attention. 90% of the votes in. I think that's kind of stagnant. I think this is where we were a little while ago. Trump leading by 3.4 points. Philadelphia, see, there's still votes to come in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh's almost all counted. So Pennsylvania's still very close, gotta say. Now, Wisconsin, Trump was looking pretty good. Let's see what Wisconsin looks like right now. Trump with a 4.3% lead, 86% of the votes in. Madison, 93% of the votes in, heavily Kamala Harris area. Milwaukee, only 60% in. Harris performing really well there. Wisconsin's looking good for Trump. It's still too close to call, unfortunately. And what about Arizona? Arizona's going to take forever. They always do. Trump with a very, very narrow lead in Arizona. So that's way too close to call. Only half the votes are in. And we might as well stop it in Nevada since we're covering all the swing states, which I am now calling Minnesota a swing state. And Nevada. Trump with a pretty good lead, 75% of the votes in, and Trump's up by 3.4 points. Nevada looking pretty good. Not a critical one for Trump, but every electoral vote does help. So let's go back to the big map and see what the scenarios are. And I don't think it's changed from where we were before. Okay. So Trump is solid red, declared winner with 248 electoral votes in his pocket. 269 to tie, and I think he wins a tie. So I think with a tie, it goes to the House of Reps, or it might go to one state, one vote. Either way, Trump has more states than Harris, and Trump has. the Republicans are the majority in the House. So 269 is the easy. Well, the 270 is the real goal. 270 is no nothings. 269, it's a tie, and we go to a tiebreaker, which favors Trump, but who knows what the deal is with that. So how do we get from 248 to 270? Well, he needs 22 electoral votes. If he takes Pennsylvania, wait a minute, what am I looking at? Yeah, 248. If he takes, oh yeah, you know what? I haven't given him Alaska yet. So if I put Alaska into his column, because Alaska is most likely red, there we go. 251. He needs 19 electoral votes. Guess how many Pennsylvania has? 19. So if Pennsylvania goes to Trump and he holds Alaska, and Alaska is extremely probable, then Alaska with ranked choice voting, but I don't think that's going to matter. He takes Pennsylvania, it's game over. If he doesn't take Pennsylvania, and assuming he hangs on to Alaska, he needs almost any two. He was Nevada with 6. So Nevada's kind of not really in play at all right now, honestly. He needs Pennsylvania or 2 out of 4 of Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. I still have New Hampshire is not completely done. So I guess a combination of Nevada and New Hampshire would be the same as winning Wisconsin. I hope you're following me. So again, bottom line, he takes Pennsylvania, is game over. Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. If Trump fails to take Pennsylvania, he needs 2 out of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. That's what it comes down to. 2 out of Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Minnesota. And then the minor states that could still be in play: Nevada, which is leaning Trump, New Hampshire, which is leaning Harris. Those make the calculation more complicated. But the very simple thing is take home Pennsylvania and you take home the election. I'm looking at my TV right now. We're still at 90% of the votes. So looks like they've stopped counting in Pennsylvania, which really fucking sucks because that's bad memories of 2020 when when the ballot counting mysteriously stopped in the middle of the night and we woke up to really, really weird we woke up to really weird news the next morning, which we're not allowed to question because we get called all kinds of names if we do. I hope it's not too late to save the country. I really am concerned about losing our way of life. Again, this is my 14th presidential election since I became voting age. I voted for McGovern in 1972 because I really thought there was a better chance he'd stop the war in Vietnam than Nixon. I had to sit out the 1976 election because I was not eligible to vote that year. That is a long story which will be told in future podcasts. 1980, I actually voted for John Anderson because I wasn't real happy about the Iranian hostage crisis, and Ronald Reagan scared the shit out of me, so I voted third party. 1984 was the year that I actually actively campaigned, 6 weeks on the road in a bus, campaigning for nobody for president. So when the time came, I wrote in nobody in 1984. 1988, my life was kind of falling apart. That's another long story for future podcasts. I didn't vote. That's the only time I didn't vote. 1992, 1996, I voted for Clinton. 2000, I voted for Gore. 2004, I voted for Kerry. 2008, I voted for Obama. 2012, well, my mother died in 2011, and she fell down. Holy shit, they just called Pennsylvania. You heard it live. I heard it live. I'm going to turn on the sound on my TV because they're probably screaming. Pennsylvania has gone red, folks. Blathering Boomer, you heard it here first. Pennsylvania, let's put that proudly in Trump's column. He's at 267 and Alaska has 3. Wow, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Woo! Pennsylvania. All 22 of you. Let me check. Somebody texted me during all this, and let me see something here. Oh, I was just told by my cousin he got Alaska. Well, I would think so. So that's it. Alaska is not official yet, but let's go to Alaska on the thingy thing. I'm losing my command of the English language. I apologize for that. Having a bad hair day. Sorry about the hat, but it's the Blathering Boomer hat. I gotta go left to right. Blathering Boomer. It's opposite. It drives me a little crazy. Okay, so let's take a look at Alaska. We haven't looked at Alaska. So you're gonna see it when I see it. But Trump has taken Pennsylvania. I did not think I would see that tonight. Okay, Alaska. Let's see how you do in Alaska.
All of those people who work so hard and stuck by Trump.
Well, Alaska, 26% of the votes in. Trump is leading by 18 points. It seems pretty safe. So, back to the map.
Oprah Winfrey said that if Donald Trump is elected again, basically, you can just write America off. Like, America's just going to fall apart. That's obviously not true, although I'll be surprised tomorrow if there's a big line at JFK of Hollywood
let me
leaving the country.
Silence my TV.
This is the greatest country.
Actually, I'm going to keep the sound on. I want to go over to MSNBC again.
Almost 1:30 in the morning here, and some people are going to go to sleep. Not us, of course, but in Western Europe and in the UK and in the Middle East, people are waking up to this.
They do better without the sound. So, officially, if I take Alaska away, which Alaska really is going to end up with Trump, but just for argument's sake, let's look at Trump's path to victory with Alaska just leaning red right now. By the way, Trump, let me get Alaska back to leaning red. There we go. Trump has a path to 312 electoral votes. Not for nothing. But right now he's officially got 267. He needs 3 more electoral votes, which means Donald J. Trump needs to take either Alaska, Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, or New Hampshire. Any one of those states, and we have a winner. Wow. I wonder if Predicted.com has, I'm just checking Predicted.com on the side here. Yeah, Trump's up to 98 on Predicted.com. And tell you the truth, it's probably a good bet at this point, although I'm not going to do it. So there you have it. I'll come back if another state goes into Trump's column, because I think at that point it's over. By the way, the Republicans are a lock. They have right now the Senate is 51-41. There are still several races to be decided, but the Senate is important because it's the Senate who approves Trump's cabinet, and obviously a red Senate will make getting the cabinet appointments much smoother process. The House is looking pretty good too. So again, I never thought I'd ever see the day where I would celebrate Republicans having. I lived in fear of it. I lived in total fear of the Republicans controlling House, Senate, and White House. But now I'm celebrating it. And of the 20 people watching, I bet at least 18 of you are pretty happy right now. So it ain't over till it's over, but it's pretty much over. I'll come back when it's official. I'm going to go offline and take a phone call or two right now. So bye for now. All right. Well, like I said a little while ago, Trump just needs to basically take Alaska, which is a deep red state. He needs either Alaska, Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, or New Hampshire. I'm declaring this race to be over. Donald Trump has won. Pennsylvania, once again, was the deciding blow. Although Trump is on a path to get over 300 electoral votes, and that is an electoral college landslide. I haven't seen any numbers on the popular vote, but last I heard, he was on a path to maybe win the popular vote, which would be a good thing, because end of the day, we got to reunite this country. That's what, I'm trying not to be in the face of too many people. It's hard not to, because of how I've been treated for the last 8 years. And I feel like this election's a vindication. But I don't think I could do anything with that. So 21 people watching. I appreciate Every single one of you. I really do. I am. I'm a very small podcast, but and now that the election's over, I'm going to go back to storytelling and scam exposure and stuff like that. But the last several, and of course, I'm going to be talking a lot about Gaza and where that all goes from here. I think that no matter which side you're on, I think the election bore that out. I think no matter which side you're on in the conflict in the Middle East, Trump's election is a good thing, because I really do believe he's going to solve this. If anybody can, he can. He was damn close with the Abraham Accords. And when October 7th was happening, I said out loud, this wouldn't have happened if Trump was president. I don't think Russia would have invaded Ukraine if Trump was president. And let's see if this beautiful coalition of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., and many others can bring peace to this world. We had 4 years of his administration already. No new wars. That's a big deal, because the next war could be the last war. So, okay, I'm going to call it a night. Trump's going to address the crowd pretty soon. I'd like to stay awake for that, but who knows when that'll happen. Got the advantage of being in California. It's 3 hours earlier than it is at Mar-a-Lago. So, there it is. I'll see you next Tuesday, 9 o'clock Mar-a-Lago time, 6 o'clock woke Hollywood time. Thank you all for tuning in. Congratulations to all who are happy about the result of this election. I am not only happy about the result, I'm happy that it's been, Tyrus was right. Tyrus was right. It's not even close, and it got decided pretty quickly. It was nerve-wracking for a while, but here we are. Anyway, only one thing left to say, and that is the boomer. Well, let me go full screen for that part. Hey, guys. Man, I'm tired. Anyway, the boomer, 4 hours and 33 minutes later, has blathered. Be good to yourselves, huh?